I know what you're thinking. Laura, you lied to us. You told us this week you were going to be making a funny video of you throwing your bear bag for the first time. And this is not that video. Where is it? I have an answer. I'm sorry I couldn't make that video this week. We are currently in a hurricane in South Florida. If you hear wind going on right now, that's because there is a hurricane outside. But I wanted to make sure that I got a video up for you guys this week. So I am filming it. I'm getting it put up for you guys. So today we're going to be talking my resupply and food plan for the Appalachian Trail. What I'm thinking I'm going to do as far as like resupply boxes or whatnot. And as far as like resupplying in town, what kind of foods I think I'm gonna eat on trail. All that good stuff is what we are gonna talk about today. So one of the big questions that a lot of people who are planning a through hike go through is whether they want to send themselves resupply boxes or whether they want to resupply in town or do some sort of mix in between. I am planning to do a sort of mix in between. I am gonna be doing some resupply boxes, but mainly I'm going to be resupplying in town. A few places I know for sure that I'm gonna want to send myself a resupply box because I've heard through the grapevine for various reasons that you should send yourself a resupply box to these places. So one of the first places I know I'm going to be sending a resupply box to is Neal's Gap. I mentioned this in a previous video, but I have been to Neal's Gap. There is a store there called Mountain Crossings. Lovely people, phenomenal people, but their food is pretty expensive and rightfully so. Like they don't have much competition, so they can raise their prices. So for that reason, I am more than likely going to be sending myself a resupply box there. 1000% I don't know if I'm going to send it there just because I did hear like postage wise and like you have to pay for them to hold your box, so it might not be that big of a difference in price. That is the only box that I am planning to make before I leave for trail. The rest of the boxes I will probably shop for in town along the trail and send myself when I'm actually out hiking. So two other places that I am looking at doing a resupply box of sorts is Fontana Dam and the 100-mile wilderness. Again, I've heard from other thru hikers that Fontana Dam is pretty expensive as far as a resupply goes. There's a little marina that you can get food from, and then there's also a little shop inside the hotel if you guys go to stay at the Fontana Hotel. I think it's a lodge of some sort, but I did hear it is pretty expensive. It does have a lot of typical food that thru hikers will eat, so what they do have doesn't really concern me. It's more so that it's gonna be limited and that it might be pretty expensive as well. Well, yes, I do have a lot of my money saved up for the trail. I don't want to be spending excessive amounts because I do want to make sure that I save money as I'm going throughout the trail and not just spending it frivolously. And then the other place I mentioned was the 100-mile wilderness. Now, this one isn't necessarily going to be a resupply box that I'm sending myself, but I have heard that Shaw's Hiker Hostel will do a resupply food drop for you in the middle of the 100-mile wilderness. So I am planning on utilizing that when I get to there, but you know, that's all the way in Maine. That's really far away, so we'll see what happens between now and then. If you guys know of any other places where you think I should probably send myself a resupply box, maybe it's very expensive food or there's like limited food options there, please let me know in the comments down below. Just tell me whatever the town is and maybe where I should resupply to send myself a box. I'm not planning on making any boxes at home other than the one for Neal's Gap, so it has to be like a town along the trail. So next, let's talk about my food options, foods that I think I'm going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks. So breakfast, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple most of the time. I found when I went out for the first time ever backpacking, I brought oatmeal because that's what people typically will bring with them, oatmeal or some sort of backpacking meal. I ate it the first morning, and then the next morning I just did not want to cook it whatsoever. So when I went out the last time by myself, I brought stuff that was easy, that I didn't really have to cook, that I could just, you know, throw in a bag or unwrap from a wrapper and eat it and be done. So what I think I'm gonna do for breakfasts are gonna be pretty simple. So for the most part, I'm gonna be eating stuff that's pre-made, like Pop-Tarts, protein bars, regular, you know, granola bars, things like that. I also, if you guys watched my eating like a thru hiker video, oh, there's Kitten. You guys see his tail. If you guys watch my eating like a thru hiker for a day video, you guys know that I tried making cereal with breakfast essentials, and that went really well. So I think that'll be another good option if I'm getting sick of Pop-Tarts or bars or things like that. I can always make some cereal. And then, you know, if I'm really cold one day, or if I'm feeling like having oatmeal and I want to cook breakfast, I'll bring some oatmeal packets with me as well. But for the most part, that's what I think I'm gonna stick with for breakfast options. If you guys have any other options, definitely leave me a comment. But keep in mind, I want it to be simple, and for the most part, I don't want to be cooking breakfast. Same thing as breakfast. For lunch, I really want to minimize the amount of time that I actually have to cook. So for lunch, I'm probably gonna stick with mainly like wraps, protein bars, snacks, things along those lines, things that are easy for me to eat that I don't really have to cook with a stove, because I'm trying to save my fuel for dinners. Again, if you have any suggestions, leave them down below. So dinner time is when I'm mainly going to be cooking, using my stove, using my fuel. I like having a warm meal at the end of the day when I'm hiking. Even in summer, I enjoy it. So some of the things that I'll probably be cooking with my stove are like nor rice sides nor pasta sides. Mac and cheese is always a favorite, ramen noodles, backpacking meals, and I did think of it would be cool to make tacos one night. I found this dehydrated meat that I could bring, and then maybe bring some cheese when it is colder out. I can pack out cheese and then some tortilla wraps. I thought that would be really yummy for dinner, maybe like a Taco Tuesday situation. That's what I'm kind of thinking right now. Pretty much doing the typical staples of backpacking world meals. Again, if you guys have any suggestions as far as food goes, please let me know. Even when I'm out on my thru hike, if you guys want to give me some suggestions for food, let me know. Please keep it light food though. I don't want to be carrying heavy food with me. So that's my game plan for now as far as food goes. Next week, you guys are going to get my video about me throwing a bear bag for the first time. Hopefully this hurricane is long gone by the time I have to film that. One other thing before I have you guys go, I am going to be doing a Q&A here shortly in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be posting it on this channel. So if you guys have any questions about myself, or about my hiking partner, or about my future thru hike of the Appalachian Trail, leave them in the comments down below. I will be answering as many questions as I can in that video. And that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.